Hello there guys, welcome back to my channel and welcome to another episode of Should You Pull for Dissidia Final Fantasy Opera Omnia. Now today we're going to be looking at probably the biggest hype banner we've had in quite a long time, and honestly if you're genuinely asking me whether you should pull for this character or not, you've not been watching enough of my videos, because it's one of my favourite characters in all of Final Fantasy, and honestly, just go do it. I'm not going to spoil the end of the video for you, but just go do it. We're going to be talking about Vayne and his EX weapon, as well as his banner mates in Paladin, Cecil, and Cyan. Now, as I said, Vayne is a character that I'm extremely excited about. I cannot wait to get my hands on him. He's one of my favourite characters in the entirety of Final Fantasy. Everyone knows I love my villains. He was my main in Dissidia NT, and he comes to Dissidia Opera Omnia in quite a big fashion. So if you want to find out more about his kit, his EX weapon, what his future looks like, and ultimately whether or not you should pull for him, you should, then stay tuned and keep on watching. As always guys, don't forget to check out all of the social media links in the description box below, including my Discord channel where we all talk about Opera Omnia, trading card game, all sorts of other stuff, and share our pulls and salt and misery, because Lord knows I've had plenty of that recently. As well as my Twitch channel where you can come to watch me play Opera Omnia. As a matter of fact, I should be doing an extra stream on top of the schedule you see here on Thursday, so the day before my Final Fantasy Fridays day, to do my pulls for Vayne, because that's when he's released. And also don't forget to check out my Patreon page, all stuff like that for early access videos. Then you've also got DissidiaDB.com, which I always use for all of my Should You Pull videos in terms of information and resources, so it's a very, very big chance for you to check out any character you want to look up. And as always, don't forget to check out all of the other Dissidia Opera Omnia content creators. As a matter of fact, I'm actually going to leave an extra link in the description box below for a video that will showcase just how strong this character can be. But I won't tell you about it because I just want you to watch it. So we're going to start with the banner mates of the banner, and you know how I always say to you guys that there are very few bad characters, if any, in Dissidia Final Fantasy Opera Omnia? Well, here is one of them. Cyan is, unfortunately, and I hate saying it because he does have a big fan base. I know that people really love Cyan, they love FF6, they love his story. He's just bad, unfortunately. Even with his 60-60 awakening, all he really gets is slightly stronger versions of his attacks that make his Bushido buffs a bit stronger. He doesn't have a Brave HP attack that's easily accessible. He has to go through his Concentrate phase before he can do anything. If Concentrate buffed his Bravery and then did an HP attack, then he wouldn't be nearly as bad. He doesn't have anything that benefits the party for himself or other than himself whatsoever. He doesn't get anything from his weapons even that is all that great. His biggest thing is that he heals off of Bushido Dragon. He's just unfortunately really quite bad. So while we can come to expect pulling lots of Cyan 15s while pulling for all of the good stuff on this banner, we can also have a look at Paladin Cecil. Now I quite like Paladin Cecil. I've had him for a little while. I got his full kit when he came out. He's useful. He's really nice. He's very quirky. He's kind of got a little bit of a jack of all trades, master of none thing going on for him, where he will do a decent amount of damage and he'll Brave Battery, he'll up everybody's defenses. He's Holy reliant, so if anything resists Holy, he's not going to be any good for that. But this time around, he doesn't come with his EX. So how good is he without his EX? Well, Divine Shield is nice to have, having defense raised, brave regen and HP regen on an aura, which is quite handy to have. And then he's not a terrible character. He gets his Luminous Slash and his other attacks where he gets Light Slash, sorry, where he uses his ability. So his longevity is actually really good compared to other characters that don't have their EX. And then he also does kind of give quite a lot of nice things to your party just by having just his framed buffs. He's just a nice character to have. He gets a little bit of overflow on his attacks with his crystal passives. He gets just like party buffs on everything realistically. So when Light Slash when you attack with a Light Slash after using Saint's Fall, you get Brave Battery on a Brave Attack Plus, which is always nice to have anyway. Both of his abilities themselves have overflow. Brave HP attacks. He's generically quite good. He is not amazing at any one thing, but the main thing that stands out about him is his Divine Shield. If you're struggling and you want a bit more defenses, then having a shield, a defense buff, HP regen and brave regen on top of whatever other buffs you've got are quite nice. But ultimately, Cecil is not going to do all that well without his Holy Imperil, which is going to be a nice thing in the future, and his EX isn't on this banner, and that's the thing that gives it to him. So again, If you're pulling on this banner, you're not really going to be pulling for Paladin Cecil, but if you get him, he's not bad. So now we come for the big guns. We come into Vayne. Now I have so much to talk about with this character, and yes, I'm biased because he's one of my favourite characters, but it doesn't actually matter because he's that strong anyway. He's just got mechanics that actually break the rules of the game. And this is where he comes in, and I'm just going to read his abilities to you so that you can understand the sorts of things that he does. So Mac Wave, this is without crystal passives, without gear, anything like that, is just a brave attack that does turn into a brave HP attack that gives him a buff that lowers your opponent's attack. So regardless of whether your opponent's attack can be debuffed or not, whether they're resistant to it or not, doesn't matter because Conqueror's Power is a buff on Vayne that is an aura that negatively affects your opponent. So that in and of itself is very strong. If he gets Mac Wave Plus, it has no action delay. This is what happens if he has 3 stacks of his Conqueror's Power, and he can get to that very easily if you have his full kit. It has no action delay, doesn't increase the turn count, and it sort of increases your summon and everything like that. So basically he gets a free turn off of Mac Wave if he's got Conqueror's Power at his full stacks. And then Conqueror's Power isn't the only frames buff that he gets. He also has Consul's Wisdom, which comes off of Force of Will. Now, Force of Will is straight up ridiculous. It is a 2-hit Brave HP attack that's followed up by another 4-hit Brave HP attack. Now, that's fine. However, what the thing that makes this so powerful does is it unbreaks your opponent halfway through the attack. So, if they're already broken, he'll do his 2-hit HP attack, then he'll unbreak them, and then he'll do his 4-hit Brave HP attack and break them again. If they weren't broken, and they are within range to be broken by the 2-hit HP attack, you literally break the opponent twice. So the main reason that that's so powerful is because you get the delay on both breaks. So he keeps doing it. And then that's really nice as well. And then, not only that, if your Conqueror's Power is at 3 stacks, Force of Will becomes Force of Will Plus, and he gets a free turn from that as well. Consul's Wisdom is also a buff that is an aura for your entire party that raises their max bravery and their attack. You also get Kick and Rush, which come off of his attacks when you get his level 55 and 60 passive, I believe. Yeah, so when you get his 60 passive, you get Kick and Rush, which are Brave and HP attack pluses that are really fast. Don't delay him very much at all, and he just keeps going. Now, we haven't even gotten to his EX weapon yet, but his EX weapon makes him definitely one of the best characters in the game in terms of damage dealing and tech play, and it also carries him for a very, very long time. But as you can see, like the Mac Wave Extend, as I said earlier, it turns his Mac Wave into an HP attack, and it also gives him Brave Overflow, and it makes it stronger. The Force of Will Crystal Extension will give it, Consul's Wisdom a lot longer to live on, and it makes Kick and Rush do more damage. And then it also grants a stack of Conqueror's Power when you're using any of his attacks. So he's always getting Conqueror's Power. So basically, your opponent's debuff is always going to be there for their attack. But the ultimate thing is whether you're at 3 stacks or not, so that you're always going to be able to make sure that you've got Conqueror's Power, get those free turns, and just get crazy amounts of stuff. And then if you have his 15 CP weapon, you're getting 2 stacks of Conqueror's Power from Mac Wave, and then you get better versions of his... Basically, you just get better versions of Consul's Wisdom if you have his 35 CP, so you're ultimately going to want all of his kit. But like I said, he's got a framed aura debuff, a framed aura buff, he's got the break-unbreak mechanic that makes it so that his delay shenanigans are crazy powerful, he has free turns like mad, and he does a crazy amount of damage. This is all an exceptional kit before we've even looked at his EX weapon, but there's a lot of characters that can do a lot of damage, but his EX weapon does something that really, really takes him over the edge. Now, Tree of Sephira, which is his EX attack that comes from the EX weapon Enigma, is a 4-hit Brave HP attack with equal damage split, so that's nothing to write home about, really. Has 150% max Bravery Overflow, which is great. We always like max Bravery Overflow. Restores a use of Mac Wave and Force of Will up to their initial values. What? This is crazy. Like, a character that does this amount of different stuff should not be allowed to do that indefinitely. Bear in mind that your EX skill never runs out. So, longevity, in terms of like the amount of sustain he has in a fight, is practically infinite because he can keep going. And Quistis has 3 uses of Degenerator Whip, which delays your opponent for longer, admittedly. Vayne can break and unbreak and then break again ad nauseum, as much as he wants. He might have to wait a little while for his EX skill to go off, but between all the free turns and the delay and the power buffs and all of that, you should not be allowed to get your skills back with that. Vayne is going to last for a long, long time on this alone. All of the other stuff he gets is amazing and it's great and it makes Vayne into an absolute powerhouse, but this is what makes him above and beyond any other damage dealer in the game, because he can do it forever. He will do it for as long as it takes to finish a fight. While Conqueror's Power is at 3 stacks, he gets Joesephyr Plus, which again makes it free, makes it a free turn, doesn't give him any action delay, doesn't increase your turn count, so your score is going to be that much higher just for using Vayne, because as much as he gets all these free turns and stuff just like lightning, he doesn't steal the turn. He doesn't make it so that it's harder for you to finish it because your other characters aren't getting a look in, because he's not increasing the turn count. He's going to be a bit of a pain during a summon, I'll give him that, but when you're doing this much damage and you're breaking, unbreaking and doing all of these sorts of things, do you really mind? It's not the end of the world if your summon's not 100% as powerful. I mean, bear in mind as well, talking about summons, Bahamut gets more powerful depending on how many times you've broken an opponent. I'll let you guys do the math on that one, because Vayne and Bahamut are like bread and butter. They just go together really well. And then when you limit break Joesephyr, you get slight more damage dealing, you get a slightly faster recast rate, so it's kind of normal recast rate, so every 3 turns if you're using a skill every turn, 4 if you're using kick and rush more. And then you also get 3 stacks of Conqueror's Power straight away when you use Joesephyr, so your next skill, no matter what you use, is going to be a free turn. It's just mad. I cannot wait to get my hands on this character. I have saved up more than enough gems. Like, you've seen my gem stash when I've streamed in the past. I save up for characters like this. He's not only one of my favourite characters in the game, and I talk, well, like I said, I say with some bias because he's my favourite, but without bias whatsoever, he is an exceptional character, and I encourage everyone to at least look at him before thinking, nah. And then, if anyone was curious, his EX Plus is pretty crazy as well. He's also considered one of the top characters in JP alongside Zack, purely because of just the amount that he can do. Again, the fact that he can restore the uses of his skills is what makes him as powerful as he does. When you're using Joesephyr or Joesephyr Plus, when his EX Plus comes in a very long time, he's only recently been released in JP, so don't worry about this for the time being, but I thought I would make a note of it. The amount of shelf life this character has. He gets more Brave max overflow limit for all of his abilities. He then gets free bravery at the end of his turn, as long as he has his Conqueror's Power buff maxed out. He starts with Conqueror's Wisdom and Consul's Wisdom and Conqueror's Power at the beginning of the fight, and then he does the break, unbreak, break thing with his EX attack now. So now he's got even more chances to sort of delay your opponent for as long as possible while just getting... It's maddening. I think that this character is probably the strongest character we have ever seen in this game up till this point. And until we start getting EX pluses, because we're going to get level 70 soon, and there are going to be characters that kind of jump to the forefront again. But Vayne will still last through the early level 70 era, purely because of just how many different things he brings to the table all at once. It's only when EX Plus starts to come around that he'll start to fall off, but then when his EX Plus comes out, he jumps straight back to the top of the leaderboard again, just like Zack. The last thing that's important to bear in mind before concluding the video is that Vayne does not return with his EX weapon until his EX Plus comes about with his Lost Chapter. And he'll also come back with Paladin Cecil's EX, and Paladin Cecil gets a lot stronger as well when his EX Plus comes around. So that's something to bear in mind. If you don't get him now, you won't be able to get him again until a year's time. And Paladin Cecil, while nice, isn't a reason to skip this banner for Vayne EX Plus, as much as I'm sure a lot of people have spent out on Zack EX Plus, which was a worthwhile use of your resources as well. Vayne is the one that I personally have been saving for months. So this is the best time to pull for him. I mean, again, personally, I already have Paladin Cecil EX, so by getting Vayne now, I don't have to worry about his lost chapter at all. Once again, a massive shout out to Inkwelder and the Tonbridge Troop for bringing us this wonderful Vayne infographic. As you can see here, this is basically everything you need to know about Vayne that I've explained already, as well as a couple of differing views and stuff on that. And his damage dealing is completely ridiculous. As it says in the infographic, his free turns completely trivialise his content right now, and his unbreak leads to extra delay shenanigans. So if you're worried about, you know, Vayne not being enough for that kind of thing, pair him up with someone else that does something similar. So Quistis, Cloud, or Lael, or anything like that. One thing that I will point out that is actually a very good point here is that auras are much, much better for boosting Vayne than regular buffs are, because Vayne gets so many turns, he's just going to rinse through his buffs so quickly. Unless you're using a character like maybe Sarah, who like increases buffs so frequently that he could probably benefit from them anyway, but she has an aura as well, so you're pretty quids in either way. And then you've also got to bear in mind that his artifacts are going to want to be straight up damage. As it says here, classic damage dealer. You just want to max out that attack. So you want attack 108 and you want Imperial Console boost because it's more attack. So just hit people with him hard. So do I think that this banner is worth pulling on? Well, given everything that I've said already in this video, what do you guys think? I think Vayne's pretty good. I'm not going to lie, I think he's alright. So I think, yeah, this banner is very worth pulling on. Paladin Cecil is a nice extra if you don't have him already. Cyan, I pray for everybody's sake that you don't get inundated with Cyan 15s like I'm probably going to when pulling for Vayne. But Vayne is truly exceptional. Zack is also amazing, so this is why I suggested at the beginning of the month perhaps waiting until now to pull for the characters you wanted. Of course, I didn't practice what I preached and I pulled for Sarah and Zack when they came out. But that was knowing full well that I was going to get Vayne one way or another. I have saved up my gems. I have 75k gems. I will pity Vayne if I have to. He is that powerful. And I honestly cannot recommend him enough to anybody. Like I said, I will leave a video in the description box below that shows you guys just how powerful this character is on his own with no extra support from anybody. Just pull for him, please. He's just incredibly good. So I hope that this video has aided you guys in working out whether you want to pull for Vayne or not. Obviously, there are going to be people in a position where they're not able to pull for Vayne, or they may choose not to, and that is fine too. There is a slight level of bias in my voice because of how much I love the character, but he's, taking away the bias, he is really very, very strong, and I can't stress that enough. So hopefully you guys can grab him. If you do pull for him, I wish you all the best of luck. Don't forget to check out all of the social links in the description box below as always. And of course, don't forget to subscribe and ring the bell for notifications. So that's going to be it from me. Thank you ever so much for joining me, and good luck to you all for pulling for Vayne, and I'll see you guys soon. Bye.